Hello, welcome to the Reframing Mindset podcast. We are clear minded of the thoughts that are preventing clarity, practice my speech, among other things. Episodes range from informative knowledge to funny stories about my experiences, and in the future, maybe include interviews. So subscribe and enjoy. Episodes drop every other day. Okay, now welcome back to the Reframing Mindset podcast. My name is Constant Brooks, and this episode we're going to talk about probation. Because if you remember, listen to the fifth week episode that I mentioned when I said I'm not really out of the fire yet. I'm out of one of the worst parts where it kind of secured my place in the business, but it hasn't fully secured me yet. And so what I'm basically on all this time was probation. So all this probation is like it's like a 90 days of me after the company testing me out and me testing the company out. So that the company is giving me all these tests to see if I can manage the work. And then my 90 days is basically saying, okay, yo, can I actually do the work that they're giving me to do? So that's basically the feeling process. So I can leave anytime or not. But so that's basically what I'm in now, that 90-day probation. And I'm actually getting paid, you know, because yeah. But going seeing how the company with lifestyle work and such like that, it really there's a really a lot of things when it comes to dealing in a company mindset. There's a lot of stuff because like there's a lot of people. It's not me alone being trained. There's a lot of us being trained, and we're all on this probation, 90-day probation. And so far, I see like one person that didn't make. We're in the sixth week now, and there one person that didn't even make it to the. We're two person that didn't make it to the 4 week. They left before. They left before we reached the mock exam. So yeah, that's two-person, and we're not out of the water yet. No, this phase that we're going in now, we're actually training to see if we're actually able to do the job. So we they're training us to see if we can actually do the work, and they either may lay us off or basically we may not be able to do the work, so we have to quit. And some of the persons that I'm working with, they actually have experience in this field, so they may be able to they are used to handle this pressure. I am not. It's the first time actually working in this field, so everything is kind of new to me. So the skills that I actually want to learn there is vital to me. But it's vital to me. But the company doesn't really doesn't really have time to actually teach me. So if I'm not learning at their pace, they may fire me. So what happens is that I have to actually put in the effort these 90 days to actually show that I'm actually I have to progress. I have to progress at the company rate during these 90 days to actually make it to the end of the 90 days. So that's basically the difference. It's like every day is a real life test. If you're not progressing, and if you're not progressing, the company can just say, okay, yo, you're not progressing. So I'll just lay you off. If there's no second chance, you're out of it. So what so that's basically what the probation is. The probation period is. It's like, yo, I'm in the company and I can learn this experience can really help me build skills that I actually was trying to grasp that can help me go to the next level. But the company don't really the company is not really uh, is not letting it not teaching me this so I can get better in my field. They're teaching me so I can make money for their company. So if I'm not getting good at this thing, good enough for them to make money from me, I'm going to get fired. So that's basically what this 90-day so that's basically what this probation period is. So I have to use this opportunity to get better while so that I can actually reap the benefits from being at this company while also being able to meet their quotas. And you know, this test will also build me as well because if I actually meet that high demand, it will be very beneficial. Like legit, if I work this job for like 1 year, 2024, this podcast will sound very different. By the end of 2023, this podcast will sound very different. That will sound very different. So many stuff will be so different and stuff like that because of how what skill this company is teaching me. And what happened was that back then, I guess now that I say thinking about it, back then if I actually got the job back then, I guess I would have the skills. I would have the skills, but maybe I wouldn't start this podcast. So, this thing that I have now, you would really hear it. But I would have the skills. So, what would happen was that I would have the skills. I would learn to develop the skills because I think even though back then I was pretty more introverted and stuff like that, and didn't like to talk. I think maybe back then I wouldn't get the job either. I would if I made it through the interview phase and then going through the learning phase, maybe I wouldn't even get the job either. Because like to reach that phase, you had to be talking and talking all the time. But then I didn't like talking. But the reason difference is now, it's not that I like talking, is that I know the reason why I'm talking now. So when I'm going I know why I'm talking. So that's the difference. So but then I would gain the skills, but I wouldn't know why it's so important that I learn it now in that next phase because I may not have gone through the pandemic. It's the pandemic that kind of made me realize why this job is important to me now because I need to be able to communicate well if if I'm going to reach that next level. So they can tell you guys, yo, put on the mask and you guys trust me because I'm able to communicate well. So what will happen is that I know my stuff and I know to communicate it to you well. And that's what this job is actually teaching me because I have to be able to communicate the some how to solve your problem. What the job is essentially me doing is basically people calling in. Actually helping them solve their problem, and I have to be able to communicate well so that they can understand when the instructions that I'm giving them to solve their problems and solve it in the best way possible. And if I can't do that, they curse me and said, "Okay, I can't understand anything you're saying. And get me somebody else, all those stuff." And then if I have to get someone else, I get I get marked down and then eventually maybe fired. you know. So I have to be able to communicate to these people well and able to give them good instructions fast because it's a non-stop work. As they come on, I have to come on and be like, "Yo, welcome to this and that. How may I help you?" and stuff like that. Basically, I can mention the work that I'm doing is customer service. It's customer service. So basically, what I'm doing is helping people solve their problems. So I have to be nice, building rapport, be nice, and able to communicate well. You have to be able to understand me. Most of the episodes, if you don't really understand me, you don't really understand me. You're just listening for something. But no, this phase, I have to actually be communicating sense. I have to be talking and making sense all the time to the person I'm talking to. That's what will change in the podcast. You'll see the change in the podcast where I'll be more consistent in the things that I'm saying. And certain hiccups will just sort of fade away because I'm doing real life practice with real life people. And then I'm going to get real life criticism um in real time. So I would know what I need to change in real time. And then you would see it over time in the podcast as well. So that's basically what this 90-day probation is. It's the company actually testing me out and you testing out the company. But I reached the 6 week and say, okay, I see I actually tested them out and be like, okay, yes, I can work at this company. I like the company. I like the company environment. So it just so I can and I see myself working here for a year or so. But I have to put in the work. But that doesn't mean the company see me as a person that is there to work yet, because I'm still not really good at the job yet. So this 90 days, as I said, I'm not out of the fire yet. This 90 days, I have to put in the work to make the company say, okay, yes, this I can keep him for this week. So I made the 7 week. 7 week can be like put in the work again. Okay, I made it to the 8th week, and then eventually I made it to the 90 days when I say, okay, yeah, you're a full time employee now, time to actually put in the work and stuff like that. So that's basically how it goes. So I'm not out of the fire yet. I'm still have to put in the work to actually become one of those valuable employees. Yeah. So that's basically what you're going to do as well when you get a job. When you're going to a real company like that, you're going to be on probation. So you're going to hear me say, "Oh, you're getting employed," but you're not really employed out of the fire yet. You have 90 days to actually prove your worth, and in between those 90 days, you can get laid off or you can quit. hmm So that's one of the things that I realize is that getting a job is one thing, keeping it is a next phase. In the next phase, keeping it in the next phase. So that's basically it for this episode. Thank you for listening. I look forward for the next episode. Mhm.
Well, this is the end of the episode. Thanks for watching and look forward for the next episode. To support this podcast, go to anchor.fm/cssb/support or become a sponsor for this episode. If you have a product that you want to have more exposure, DM me on the Instagram page, Reframing Mindset Podcast, or on Twitter at ReframingP. Either way would help. Thank you regardless for listening, and here's a preview for the next episode.
No weekends and our days off. Because I'm going as the 95 journey and stuff like that. And what happened was, if you had not realized, 95 take up like basically 9 hours of your days at least, and then you have transportation going back and forth. So 9 hours a day constant, and then transportation back and forth can varies. But what happen is that you may either get weekends off or you get some certain days off in the week. So right now, I don't think I'm getting weekends off, but I'm going to get maybe a day in the week or something like that. So what happened is that as you're going through this phase, those days off is really valuable because it you have to really, if you, as I said,